Welcome back everyone to our Let's Play series of Motorsport Manager. Now it's starting to get really exciting because we have 3 races remaining. Let's take a look at the calendar. We got Sydney, Vancouver, and then the big race, the final race in Phoenix. And the reason, of course, if you're watching in our last video, the reason that is a very exciting race is because if we take a look at the track guide, we have top speed, high speed corners, and acceleration. The top two are spec parts, and then acceleration, we are at the very top of the grid, or at least very close to it. Let's take a look and see if we're still at the top. Yes, we are. So we stand a great chance of doing well there, and we just signed a sponsor. Let's see which one it is here. There we go. We just signed a sponsor that gives us if we finish second or above, they give us a bonus pool worth 1.4 million. But the kicker is if we meet that bonus in a race in the United States, which of course Phoenix is, then it's quadrupled. So I'm very excited about that upcoming race at the possibility of making a huge sum of money in a race that we really should do great in. So let's go ahead and run through these emails, get those out of the way, and yet another interview. Let's see what we've got. A great win. What was the key? Okay, everybody did a great job. And does that show a lack of ambition? And okay, so we'll get through that. And then another scouting report. Finish. Okay, so we'll click on there just to get rid of the icon. Let's go ahead and move forward just a little bit. There we go, so we can complete our car repairs. So now we can come in, take a quick look at where everything is at. So right now we are at 84 and 90%. So what I think I want to do here, you can see if to get them all the way to 100, then 20 days before the race, well, the race is only 24 days away. So I'm going to give it another day or two. And you can see we've got some sponsorship opportunities there as well. So let's go ahead and give it, there we go. And all right, so 95 and 97, let's clear that out of there and take one more glance through here just to see if there is anything else we need to work on reliability for going into these last few races. We're good on gearboxes, wings are fine. The rear wing is now great. Suspension is pretty good. Let's see what it would take there. Okay, 16 days before the race. All right, so we're good there. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a couple more days there because we do have a race coming up where suspension is going to be very crucial. All right, now we're good there. And let's make sure of anything else where this might become an issue. Okay, so our gearboxes are all finished. And we've got our brakes over here now. And I wish I could get that off the screen there. That pop-up is kind of annoying since it won't go away. Okay, so I think we're in great shape because I don't believe we have any races left where the front wing, oh, I take that back. We do actually, our next race is that way. Okay, so it looks like again, a couple more days here, we should be perfectly fine there. And again, this is really just a matter of overkill on my part, but I'm trying to do everything I can to make sure these final races go as smoothly as they can. And of course, mechanical information is part of that. All right, looks like we got leaked information. He might have been taking some of it to other teams. What should we do? All right, so we get wow, that is interesting. We could fire him. I'm not really interested in firing him. I'm thinking a fine because we don't know for sure that he was actually going to leak it to other teams. And we have no real reason to believe that he was. So I'm definitely not going to just leave it alone. Let's go ahead and issue a fine. That, of course, is going to cost us some a little bit of morale or happiness here, but that's to be expected. All right, so I think Natalie Adams here is overdoing this just a little bit. All right, let's see what we got. So we've got our full six for our race bonus. So we're looking at second or above and third or above. And I got to tell you, unless something major comes up, I'm going to be using this particular one for the final races. So let's see what we've got. 10th, 11th, or yeah. So we're going to go ahead and just choose the one. Again, you'd like to see something like 1 million or 2 million up front in one of these slots. But we're going to go ahead and choose this one because we're not going to be using any of these. So we'll gladly take the upfront money. Okay, now let's look at the fixed payment offerings. So we've got a couple of nice offers here. This one is not really all that competitive. Again, it's a 3 out of 5 star sponsor. These other two are 4 stars. And so this one is not all that bad, but this one I think may be the biggest fixed payment sponsorship we've gotten in terms of per race, because we get, a little bit up front, not quite as much as our first option here, but the amount per race is huge. And that brings me to the point of looking at the sponsors. Right now we're maxed out at 4 out of 5. And in order to, and you can see here, this one is locked out because we need the helipad. But here's the question, and while we're at it, let's go ahead and take a quick glance at this. So we could go with the helipad, but in order to get to the helipad, I would need to upgrade our design center for 8 million. And then I'm not sure how much it costs because it doesn't tell us anywhere that I know of, but then we could do the helipad. Now the good news is the helipad only takes 6 weeks to build, but what I'm wondering is it worth expending all that money? Granted, we can use the design center. It opens up several other things as well. But is it worth spending whatever money we would spend on the helipad to get additional money? Because I'm not sure the difference between a 4-star sponsor and a 5-star sponsor. Is it 100,000? Is it 300,000? Is it more than that? I mean, I have no idea. So that's something that I'm not sure about. I really have no way of knowing if that is worth it to me to go ahead and take that route. Okay, so now you can see the email pop up there that says reliability work is done. So we'll come back into our car and see that we have nothing left for them to spend their time on. We're pretty much, if not at 100% on everything, we are extremely close. The brakes are good enough because I've taken a look and they are not crucial in any of the remaining races. So 84% should be more than sufficient on those. All right, so at this point, I really don't have anything else that we need to work on. The big things, of course, would be, the gearbox and brakes. Gearbox is done, and the brakes are what's in there now. So I think we're going to go ahead and take care of that. And you can see there, one day before the race, these will be done. So we'll be out of work for them to do for the final remaining races. And I'm really not interested in doing any further car development because I just don't feel like it will be worth it. So with that in mind, I'm simply not going to. All right. And by the way, if you haven't read some of these messages, it's pretty interesting to see this. I'm done with my scouting mission. I found out everything there is to know about, whoever the driver is. So there's some nice humor embedded within the game as well. If you haven't stopped to take a look every once in a while. Okay, let's see. We got 10 days remaining. Let's go ahead and continue on. There you can see the performance work is done, and they're letting me know that, hey, we don't have anything to do here in the factory. So if we take a look at our car, now we've got 458 on both cars there. Let's come out of there and see what that does for us. It moves us up to 8th, but the most important thing I would say is that it gets us much closer to the middle line. Now, we're nowhere near the middle line on these two, but I'm not at all worried about that. So the main thing is we're up high on this scale, and then we're much closer to the center line here. Okay, let's go ahead and prepare. So let's see, boy, I like it whenever you can look up here and see your last 3 results in qualifying were at the top of the grid, and the last 3 races you were at the top of the grid. So hard to beat that. All right, so third or above at 1.2, second or above at 1.4. Now, this particular race, low speed corners, we are not good at. Acceleration, we're great at. Top speed, of course, we don't have to worry about. But I still think we're going to be good enough. I'm going to go ahead and just go maximum aggression. Now, you see here, we stand to make some nice money. That new sponsorship that we grabbed means that even if we didn't get any bonus at all, we're only losing 474, and that used to be at the first of the season over $1 million. So we're in great shape there. I am extremely happy with that. We're able to get some nice money. We're built up to now 6.9 million. All right, so we've got our parts all set. Nothing to change here. And let's head to the racetrack. Qualifying and practice have just completed, and boy, this was an odd one. During our practice session, we had the first 3 or 4 minutes time to run, probably about 2 laps in the dry weather. Then it started raining. The track got extremely wet, and then for the last probably 1 or 2 laps available in practice session, it sort of dried out again. So I was trying to get the bonus on the dry weather tires, but just could not get any bonus at all on them because of that. Then to compound things, our qualifying session was started out the same way. You could get maybe a warm-up lap in before the heavy rain got here, but then you didn't have time to get a time lap in with the rain. So then it stayed almost completely drenched. The water on the track was almost entirely pegged through most of the practice session, which is when we went out. I sent both drivers out on the full wets, and we set 1 and 2 on the grid until the very end of the practice session when the track dried out just enough to put interzone, and we got knocked off the top slot. So we'll start second and third. We take a look at our knowledge bonuses. We did get 10% on the race trim, but as I mentioned, no bonuses on the tires. So these are simply the bonuses that were left. You could go light-footed on the soft tires, which we're not even going to be using the soft tires, so that is irrelevant. But if you see, that's all that's there. And then for Rodriguez, we've got the nurse trait, which makes your car condition drop slightly slower. So I'm hoping that will help us out some on the engine toward the end of the race, and so that toward the end of the race we won't be in such bad shape worrying about whether or not it's going to break. So let's take a quick look at the setup. Sergio will be starting third with a 95% setup. Tire choice is the super soft, and because our session length is 14 laps, we'll be running 7 and 7 most likely. The reason I say most likely is because both of our drivers are starting up front. I don't want to stack them up in the pit, so I may have to go 7 and 8. But I'm planning on going 7 with Sergio. Looks like the tires will last just that long, if not maybe a touch longer, depending on how nice we are to them. And I'm showing 10 laps of fuel, which of course is not exactly correct because we're going to push so hard. This should get us the 7 laps for him. Then if we take a look at Rodriguez, he is at 97%. And again on the super softs. And he has just a touch extra fuel just in case I need him to make 1 additional lap. So again, we'll see how it goes here at the start of the race. I would prefer them to be running 1 and 2 because that's a very good problem to have, that your cars are up front and running together and you don't want to stack them up in the pits. That is a tremendous problem to have. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the race, and let's see how things go. I'm expecting great things here. All right, here we go. Let's get everything aligned. There we go. That should be good. So we start second and third, and we are pretty aggressive as always, but not quite as aggressive as we could be because, again, I do need these tires to last a little while, so I'll be keeping an eye. We're pushing them as hard as I believe we can get by with here at the beginning of the race. All right, so we're jumped out ahead with Sergio, and then Rodriguez is coming behind in third, so a great start for Sergio, tremendous start. And then Rodriguez, hey, nothing to worry about there. He's still in third and looks to be pressuring for second as well. So let's keep an eye on the tire heat. So far, it's not come up as quickly as I thought it might. All right, let's see how things go. Yeah, we're still staying fairly cold on the temperatures. So here we are beginning lap 3. Again, Sergio pulling well out ahead. All right, so now looks like Rodriguez has finally gained second. Can he hold it for the next few corners will be the key. Okay, looks like he can. He has pulled out a little bit, about 1.7 seconds, or now it's 2.4 seconds. Wow, so he's really pulling out. So now our two drivers, we'll see which one is faster. Right now, we've got Rodriguez is 6.1 seconds behind. And hey, if they want to run just like that, I would be perfectly fine with that. Okay, we got a virtual safety car. Looks like it was out for about 30 seconds as we had a crash here. Looks like it's taken out 2 cars. All right, now that that's lifted. Now, one of the things that the virtual safety car does as opposed to the physical safety car, that if you're a NASCAR fan, you're used to physical safety cars that actually are out on the track. But the difference is the virtual safety car, there is no car out on the track. What they do is they freeze the distance between the cars. So what it does is it enables you, if you are the leader or, running up at the top of the field and you have a nice gap on the guys behind you, it enables you to keep that gap. So right now it looks like Rodriguez, he's moving in a little bit. He's at 5.3 seconds. I believe it was a little bit more than that earlier. Okay, so now we're starting lap 6. Remember, we're going to pit on lap 7 with Sergio. They are not far enough apart in order for me to bring them both in on the same lap. So it looks like I'm going to have to make an additional lap with Rodriguez. And that's why we have the extra fuel on board for him. Let's see, can we make it to the end of the race? And the answer, of course, to that is, or with this much fuel. Tell you what, let's go ahead and back off just a little bit here on the fuel. Not because I believe we really need it, but because, okay, now we're ready for our final lap. Let's go ahead and set up the pit stop for Sergio. Let's see, so now we need 7 laps, and like we talked about before, that's right at 10. It's actually about 9.5. And wow, okay, no reason to take that chance there. So we're just going to go ahead and put a little extra fuel in. It's not exactly what we would prefer to do, but I see no reason to take that chance. We've got a nice lead here. Let's try to keep a nice lead. Okay, so he'll be coming in this next time by. And just to make sure on fuel, I've had Rodriguez back it down just a little bit. He's down to 4.8 seconds. So these cars are fairly evenly matched, with Rodriguez being a little bit faster. But as you can see, we have quite the lead over the rest of the field, and I intend to keep it that way. Okay, let's switch over to Rodriguez now. And okay, let's have him go ahead and push. You can see tires are indeed an issue. Okay, so let's put on the new tires. The fuel, let's see, he's going to need 6 laps. So we'll go ahead and get this up. Let's see. Okay, that should be enough for 6 laps. Car condition looks great, actually. So it looks like that nurse trait is really doing the job for us. Okay, and we're going to have him take it easy on his tires, because I know when you get down this low on tires, it becomes an issue on performance. So again, we're doing so great in this race with such a great lead. The last thing I want to do is attempt to mess that up by doing something crazy. All right, so you notice Rodriguez has a lead of about 14 seconds. They are catching him, though, because, again, his tires are almost gone, but he is in the pits now. Okay, let's go ahead and have him push whenever he comes out. Okay, now this gives the lead back to Sergio. And let's go ahead and have him conserve on tires because there's really no need for him not to. But we'll let Rodriguez go ahead and push so that he can try to get into second slot. We're looking at a lead right now of about 6 seconds for Sergio, and Rodriguez is closing in very quickly, it looks like, on the second place car, who looks like he is, yes, he is about to come into the pits. And looks like we've got some rain coming here. So the question is, do we need to come in to the pits? And the answer to that is yes, we do. So we're going to go ahead and have both cars come into the pits. Good news is we don't need to take any fuel, so we won't be there very long. Okay, we'll go ahead and move through that. It was too early to do it a while ago, so I didn't want to go that route. Let's see, pit strategy, everything on the quickest possible. The only thing we're doing is tires, so it won't take long at all. Okay, we maybe, should have come in that time by. Looks like that would have been the better play. But hey, we're going to deal with it now. We got what we got, and everybody looks like jumped into the pits there. So it looks like Sergio, at the very minimum, should be able to come out in great shape. Let's see how they do. The biggest thing is going to be, do we stack them up in the pits? And no, we do not. All right, we are going to go ahead and have each of these guys. All right, so we've got a mistake. Oh, really? You got to be kidding me there. So a mistake is going to be killer for Rodriguez. Meantime, so a mistake in the pits is going to undo our chance to sweep the podium. All right, in the meantime, we should be able to pull ahead of second place here. We have fresher tires and all that, so we should be in good shape, but we'll see how it goes. In the meantime, Rodriguez, who thankfully has a very, very large lead. All right, let's go ahead and have him push. Might as well. He's back in 13th, so he's not anywhere near the points now. So his best chance is to give it everything he's got and try to make up for that mistake in the pits that cost him dearly. In the meantime, Sergio is doing great. He's pulled out to a 2.5 second lead. And now we have 2 laps remaining. All right, in the meantime, Rodriguez is in quite a bit of traffic. So it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get anywhere near what he's going to need for points. But that's okay. That's why you try to build up as much of a lead as you can. Meantime, Sergio is smooth sailing. Let's hope we can just keep things together for one more lap. All right, Rodriguez is in 9th, but he is right there with the ability. He could move up a few positions here in the final lap as we watch Sergio cruise. All right, so 8th position for Rodriguez. Let's see if he can get 7th. Looks like he has. And so that's where he's going to finish, in 7th position. So not bad. Not bad considering what happened to him in the pits. We'll take it. The main thing is we got the race victory and the points for the team. So a very good run for the team. Something I am very pleased with. And it's also very nice anytime you can notice that when scrutineering comes up, you don't have to worry about it. That is a wonderful feeling. All right, so Sergio takes the victory and also takes the bonus for the fastest lap. So he comes in with 12 points, and the nearest in second only has 6. So a doubling of points there. That's hard to beat. All right, so now what does that do for us? Well, in the driver standings, we're still first with Rafael, who is a good 40 points up. So he's in no danger of losing that lead anytime soon. But the big thing is Sergio moves from 7th all the way up to 3rd and is within striking distance of 2nd as we wind down the season. So I'll be looking for, my goal will be a 1-2 finish in the points. That is a huge victory. So we notice here in the team standings, we are now 49 points up on Boa, who looks to have pulled away from Thornton. All right, let's go ahead and move through these final couple of screens. It's always nice when you can show up at the racetrack knowing that you have a realistic shot at not only a podium, but a victory. So very nice morale for both drivers, 180%. The relationship with the mechanic, which of course had to do with that email we got, dilemma. So it's recovering nicely. It'll be back up in no time. And then our happiness, again, somehow, oh, that's right, I forgot. It was tied to the dilemma as well. It dropped some. So we're back up to 90 there. 95% marketability stays the same. And finally, our money. And boy, is it nice to be able to see a nice, huge green number like that. 839,000, moving us up to almost $8 million. That is very nice as we prepare for the off season and which buildings are we going to attempt to build and that kind of thing. So thank you very much for joining me in this very interesting race at Sydney. Thank you for joining me in our Let's Play, and stay tuned for more Motorsport Manager.